The change of seasons is creeping in, and those long summer nights where you could take a late walk, grab a patio dinner, or sit through 9 innings of a ball game are about to disappear. Some of us are really lucky and we get beautiful weather into October. And then there are a few of you who have perfect weather year round. Year round. Well, this part isn't for you. I'm not talking to you. Don't look at me. Seriously. But for the rest of us, this is the time to make the most of the evenings that we still have and start thinking about how first dates need to shift as the seasons change. So today we're going to talk about how to use this time of year to your advantage when you're dating, what works now, what to plan for next, and how to avoid getting stuck when the weather turns. If that sounds at all interesting, I hope you'll stick around because that's what's on the agenda. If you're still lucky enough to sit outside without your teeth chattering, use it. Meet for a patio dinner, a walk around the lake, a casual ice cream date, or an outdoor concert. These low-pressure, easy options are perfect first dates, and they're going to vanish the second we're all complaining about it being dark at 4:45. Picture it, sitting under one of those patio heaters that only warms your forehead while the rest of you slowly freezes. Or walking around the lake and swatting away the last desperate September mosquitoes. It's charming in a we survived together kind of way, I guess. And no, you don't need to wait 2 weeks to ask. If you're interested, ask now. Schedules only get busier from here, and the season isn't waiting for you. Nobody wants to be the person saying, yeah, we should have done that walk when it wasn't snowing. The point is, make the ask. Take the date, enjoy the weather while it's here, because once it's gone, you'll be inside for months wondering why you didn't. Summer spoiled us. You could text somebody at 7 p.m. and still have 2 hours of daylight. Want to grab a drink? Meant a warm patio, music in the background, maybe even a food truck rolling up. Now by 7:30, it's pitch black. You're standing under a street light and the whole thing feels more like a witness exchange than a date. So here's the shift. You need to plan. That doesn't mean over-planning. We're not talking reservations for a 9-course tasting menu. It just means being intentional enough to say, hey, are you free Thursday? Instead of waiting to see if somebody magically reads your mind. Spontaneity worked in July. In September and October, if you don't plan, you don't see each other. And trust me, nobody's ever been swept off their feet by want to meet in the CVS parking lot after dark? Fall actually gives you some of the best first date material, if you can think past coffee. Don't miss that episode. A bookstore, browse while you find out if they're into mysteries or the self-help aisle. A record store where you can laugh about your first concert. Daytime is gold this time of year, a short hike, a park walk, even just sitting on a bench watching the leaves change. It's free, it's beautiful, and it beats staring across a table while the bread basket does all the heavy lifting, honestly. Most of you won't be surprised to hear that in high school, I was one of the theater kids. That wasn't my only group of friends, but it was the one that actually felt like a legitimate group. There was a common thread that bound us all together, even if we were all a little different. Wasn't about being the coolest kids or the most polished. It was about showing up for each other. And that's kind of what being a channel member here is like. You're not just watching from the outside, you're part of it. You don't have to hit every mark or remember all the choreography. Honestly, half the time it feels like we're all just dancing out of time at rehearsals. But somehow, when opening night hits, it all comes together. So if you're feeling it, I'd love for you to join. The button's right down there. And you know, since you already know all the harmonies, you might as well subscribe to the channel too. Okay, let's head back to the episode. Farmers markets are great too, though fair warning, nothing tests a connection like deciding who has to carry the giant butternut squash. And street fairs or food festivals, they're perfect. You don't have to come up with conversation when there's kettle corn in one hand and a corn dog in the other. I say think activity over interview. A first date doesn't have to be an interrogation, as you know, so give yourself something to do together. Fall is basically the universe saying, slow down and connect. The cooler air, the cozy settings, the changing colors. This is the easiest time of year to lean into warmth. Pick places that feel comfortable, not performative. You don't need to impress anyone with a 3-hour steakhouse marathon. You need to feel like yourself in a setting where you can actually talk. Order the cider, sit by the fire pit, share the blanket if it feels right. And if you're cooking together, make something seasonal. Maybe skip soup. There's just no dignified way to slurp pumpkin bisque while you're trying to flirt. But the point is, use the season to your advantage. People remember how they felt with you, not what was on the plate. And fall practically sets the table for cozy connection if you let it. Here's where it gets interesting. As soon as, Halloween maybe, as soon as that passes, people start evaluating their dating lives because nobody wants to get stuck in November, mostly December, with somebody that they already know isn't a fit. Holiday season is high stakes. There are office parties and family gatherings, New Year's Eve, and most people would rather be single than drag the wrong person along for all of that. So be honest with yourself and with them. If you're not interested, say so after the second date. Don't let politeness turn into 3 months of, how did I end up in matching pajamas with this person? And if you are interested, keep the momentum going. Don't vanish for 3 weeks and expect the spark to survive until Thanksgiving. Ghosting is one thing, seasonal hibernation is worse. Dating in fall is about timing because once November hits, everyone's either pairing up for the season or pressing pause until January. People would pause their matchmaking until January. They just wanted to get through the holidays. I really feel like nobody meets anybody in November or December. Well, it feels like that anyway. And here's the trap. Shorter days and holiday countdowns make people feel behind. It's October and suddenly you're thinking, if this works, are we doing Christmas together? Am I buying this person a gift? Oh, how do I explain him to my kids? Whoa, breathe. You're not auditioning people for a seat at your family's Thanksgiving table. You're just answering one question. Do I want to see this person one more time? That's it. That's first date's whole assignment. And if the answer is yeah, great. If the answer is no, then thank them and move on. And if you're unsure, give it a second shot. People really relax a lot more for that second date. Fast forwarding is how you turn a perfectly nice first date into a mental PowerPoint presentation of your entire future together. That's not romance. That's homework. Stay present. You'll save yourself a lot of unnecessary stress. Did you ever notice that the tighter your calendar gets, the more your dates need to matter? But that doesn't mean they need to be big. It means they need to be real. So here's what extra looks like. Booking a 3-part evening. Dinner, theater, and a late night walk with somebody you've never met before. You end up cold, overstuffed, tired, and stuck in a lift with a stranger who doesn't believe in deodorant. No, I had a client do this. They had the cocktail date that I sent them, and then they went to go hear live music, and they went to a sporting event, and then some party late night. You know what happened? She thought he was great after the date that I planned. By the end of the evening, she realized that he was too much for her. Do you think that was maybe a clue? 5 dates pressed into one? And here's what intentional looks like. Picking a spot you enjoy, keeping it low pressure, showing up curious instead of rehearsed. Fall first dates aren't about creating a highlight reel. They're about answering the only question that matters. Do I want to see this person again? Impressive doesn't last, but connection does. Make the most of the time we still have before the weather turns. Use the lingering summer evenings all up and stop waiting for the right time. And when the season does change, adapt, because the only thing worse than a bad date is dragging yourself out into freezing weather for one. I hope you found that interesting or helpful. If you did, you might enjoy this episode on second dates. And hey, before you go, please give my little mother here the thumbs up. She's treating everyone like it's her personal daylight savings plan. Honestly, we could all use a little extra sunlight right now. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave, because once these shorter days hit, you'll need something to look forward to other than it getting dark at 4:30 p.m. I appreciate you hanging out with me today, and until next time, have a good one.